And the odds makers think that Johnson, without his belt, without having fought Holyfield once, much less 3 times, is the favorite.
Interesting that fans bet Johnson to such a clear favorite's role. Experts at ringside seem evenly divided about who will win the fight. Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and once again we welcome you to the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is time for the featured bout of the evening, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions in association with Duva Boxing, the Mandalay Bay and CM Exchange, the world champion of metals exchanges. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association, the President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Enzo Bagnariol, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Dr. Luther Mack, commissioners Dr. Tony Alamo, Skip Avenino Jr., John Bailey, and Dr. Flip Homansky, with the executive director Mark Ratner. Introducing to you all 3 judges tonight, all residing in Las Vegas, Nevada. Patricia Jarman Manning, Dave Moretti, and Jerry Roth. And the third man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout. He is working in this, his 150th world title bout, fair but firm, Joe Cortez. All right, fans, here we go with our main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, it's fight time! Introducing to you first the challenger. On my left, he is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks, hailing from North Preston, Nova Scotia in Canada. He weighed in at 238 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with 32 wins, no losses, 1 draw with 23 wins, coming by way of knockout. Rated the #1 heavyweight contender by the WBA. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the undefeated challenger, Kirk Bubba Johnson. And his opponent across the ring, the defending champion. On my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks, representing Savannah Grande, Puerto Rico, and fighting out of Chelsea, Massachusetts. His weight, 233 pounds. His record, 37 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw with 27 wins, coming by way of knockout. Here is boxing's first Latino heavyweight champion tonight, making the 2nd defense of his title, introducing the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, known as the Quiet Man, introducing John Ruiz. Once again, here's our referee in charge, Joe Cortez, now to give instructions.
All right, Kirk.
Be in control, John. Look.
All right, gentlemen. All right, take it easy here. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Give me good sportsmanlike conduct. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch him up.
Earlier tonight, there wasn't enough electricity in this joint to recharge my cell phone. But after that bantamweight fight, people seem very much into this.
That was a good fight. That was a very good fight, Larry.
3 months ago, he didn't even have a cell phone. Now he's making cell phone recharging jokes. I love the transformation. Round 1, almost anything could happen in this fight.
Well, we've already had 1 more clinch than we had in the last fight.
John Ruiz, almost his entire reputation at this point built on his 36 rounds with Evander Holyfield. He got a loss, a win, and a draw. The fights were close enough that he could have been 3-0. He could have been 0-3.
But in this fight here, he's coming out very aggressive. He's changed his style compared to when he fought Evander backing up. He's trying to physically, I think, intimidate Johnson.
And Ruiz asking Joe Cortez to warn Johnson about a low blow after the left to the gut.
All right, bring out. Hold it, guys. Hold it. Come here. Hey, come here, right now. I don't want any rough tactics inside, you understand? Let's go.
Ruiz, the aggressor. Interesting because Johnson is seen as a natural counterpuncher. His biggest win over Moskaev, the result of an instinctive counter left hook that dropped Moskaev in the center of the ring flat on his back. Both guys winging shots.
All right, hold. Hey, come on, what's that glove? Let's go.
Ruiz is doing something that is not his normal style, and when you do that oftentimes you find yourself making mistakes, getting exhausted a lot quicker than you normally would, but this is not his normal style. He's really trying to bully, and he's not really punching so much. He's trying to just run in with his left shoulder in a manner where he won't get hit and preventing Johnson from getting a chance to land a good punch.
Ruiz hit Johnson with a stiff jab before the previous clinch. Then Johnson tried to get to Ruiz's body before they clinched again.
Ruiz's best punch is his left jab.
Ruiz going down on a low blow. No deduction yet. Now he's going to deduct a point. And if you've been with us before, you know that John Ruiz has 5 minutes to recover from this, should he choose to take that time.
And we should remember that the only blemish on Johnson's record when he fought Al Cole was caused by 3 one-point deductions.
All for low blows.
For low blows.
You know, according to the rules, you cannot win a fight from being hit with a low blow, though. I think you have 5 minutes, and that's it. And if you can't continue after that, you lose the fight, I think. I'm not sure, but I know you can't win a fight as a result of being hit with a low blow.
Well, we better bring in Harold to give us the clarity on that one, to be sure, because I think we just confused the issue. Harold, what is the ruling?
Jim Emanuel is right. You can take up to 5 minutes to recover from a low blow. After that, if you can't continue, you lose by abandonment. John Ruiz had to continue.
When they showed a replay of the low blow on a big screen here in the arena, Kirk Johnson watched it from the neutral corner where he was waiting for Ruiz to recover, and we saw Johnson nod his head as if to say, yep, I deserved that point deduction. Location of the blow was unquestionable. There's Ruiz's strategy, hit and grab. And it was Ruiz who got in a body shot, last meaningful blow of a rough first round.
Johnson had better be prepared to have Ruiz's left shoulder in his face all night long, because that's the way Ruiz fights. He's going to keep running in and trying to smother him with his left shoulder.
Give a spit bucket, Paul. Give the spit bucket, Lou. Okay, take a deep breath, Kurt. Deep breath.
Just keeping these men from your chin, come with the right hand. Like you do. Give him an angle. You can't stay in front of him. That's all you got to do is move around him, all right?
Angles, right? Angles.
Like I said, use that jab.
It wasn't deliberate, but it hurt Ruiz.
It's oftentimes when a guy's punching another guy, pushes his elbow down, it almost forces the guy to hit him with a low blow.
Combi Bucks numbers in round one: Ruiz 15 out of 35, Johnson 13 out of 57.
When we first saw John Ruiz 7 years ago, he looked like a pretty good boxer puncher, but he's turned himself into an awkward, difficult kind of guy to fight, as you see here.
He's trying to be a smother fighter in this particular fight here. If Johnson can step off to his right when Ruiz charges at him, instead of going straight back, he would be much more effective instead of going straight back.
Johnson allowing himself to be hit by Ruiz's jab as Johnny lunged in.
What Johnson is doing is trying to step back and time a right hand as Ruiz bullies him.
But instead he should just circle to his right and let Ruiz fall off balance completely instead of stepping back.
Johnson begins to use his jab and then circle away. Lateral movement, one of the advantages Johnson expected to have in the fight. Pace slows as Johnson begins to box a little more. Ruiz won't find it as easy to find Kirk Johnson if he continues to circle like this.
Now Ruiz is settling down more to his normal style of fighting.
Interesting, as they trade the roles of lead and follow back and forth. Now it's Ruiz who seems to be trying to time a counter as Johnson works his jab. Ruiz hasn't thrown a meaningful punch in a minute. Now he jabs Johnson, and Johnson manages to touch him in the body with the left hand.
That was a left uppercut that just grazed the chin of Ruiz.
Everybody tries to hit Ruiz with a left uppercut because of the way he bends his body when he comes in, bending over to his right. Evander Holyfield tried it all night long also. So far, the most effective punches from both has been the left jabs.
Absolutely. Ruiz hasn't been able to miss with his left jab when he's jumped in. There it is again. And Johnson blows blood out of his nose. This Wednesday, don't miss the premiere of the second season of Hard Knocks. This year, we'll bring you to training camp with America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, for the toughest 6 weeks in sports. Through the challenges of training camp, we'll get up close and personal with the superstars, veterans on the bubble, and free agents just trying to make the cut. Hard Knocks will premiere every Wednesday at 11 o'clock.
Wait for that right hand, that dynamite. As fast as you reach forward, let it go. Use them legs now. Come on.
Keep them hands up, Johnny.
You're already hurt.
You're already hurt. Hands up.
You're already hurt. Your job is hurt.
Keep that right hand. He's trying to counter your left hook, too.
Just back.
Left, then circle wide right, okay?
Yeah, win that round.
Yes. But we need to win all these rounds. Come on, let's get this. Let's get this next one. Let's go. Come on, Kurt. Get back.
CompuBox numbers through round 2. Each fighter has landed 23 punches. Ruiz only throwing 56, Johnson throwing 104. So it's Ruiz who lands at the higher rate of accuracy. But Johnson has been able to throw more often, more fluidly, and in the second round, he seemed to get his jab and his lateral movement going.
Ruiz is very hard to hit with a clean punch, though. Very, very good defense. Ruiz's left jab, which he jabs and he bends over and uses his shoulder with his jab, and he's very effective. That was his best punch with Evander.
Ruiz hasn't landed much other than a jab since round 1, but he is still landing his jab from time to time. There, Johnson is flush with a 1-2. Finally gets a right hand to Ruiz's chin. As Emmanuel Stewart pointed out, very hard to hit Ruiz with a clean power shot.
Very difficult to hit.
John Ruiz has found an awkward, perhaps not entertaining style that's very effective for him.
Perhaps.
And it's the type of style where you can win fights without really beating a guy, so to say, but you still can win fights because you can occasionally land a jab, land a few punches, smother them, and get away with it.
At the very least, you make the fights hard to score.
Very difficult to score against him.
All 36 rounds of Ruiz Holyfield would leave questions in your mind from a scoring standpoint. There are moments here, though, when Johnson is able to flick the jab and move, when it looks like a little bit the way Lennox Lewis has looked against some opponents who didn't have the movement to deal with it.
Ruiz has always fought close fights, even when he wins. I remember the fight when I was working in the corner with Donnell Nicholson when he fought it. Donnell won a split decision. He does just enough to make the fight interesting and contestable.
Ruiz with a total of 4 losses in his career. Sergey Kobasev, the late Russian heavyweight. Donnell Nicholson, as Emmanuel mentioned. Tua. And, of course, the 1 loss to Holyfield. Kirk Johnson is unbeaten, 32-0-1.
Good. You got to keep on working there. You got to get, you got to get this jab going in for me. The jab is going, but I need more than you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, come on. Take a deep breath. Come on.
Don't reach. Hit him, step, and throw it. Step in and over. You understand? Relax. You're doing a good job. Relax.
Keep them hands up, Johnny.
This guy ain't nothing. You're there for him, Johnny. Understand? You just go in there and work. Work the best you can work. That's all you got to do. Keep that jab crack.
A warm weekend in Vegas as you look at the outside view of the spectacular Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino. We are in the beautiful Mandalay Bay Event Center where John Ruiz defeated Evander Holyfield 2 years ago to win the, or a year and a half ago I should say, to win the belt that he now carries. Harold, how do you have this fight scored through the first three?
Okay, Jim, 28-28, 1 round each fighter and 1 round even. Jim, in that first round, I thought Kirk Johnson won it. When Joe Cortez took away a point for a low blow, it becomes 9-9. So that was the 1 round even. The second round against Kirk Johnson, he was a lot busier. The third round, I didn't think Kirk Johnson punched it up. Johnny Ruiz scored with the left jab, so he went on a clean punching. Jim, real quickly, the rule on beards, if it can cut your opponent to scratch your opponent, or if it can cushion the blow, it's illegal. Now, you got to look at that Ruiz beard very closely and make your own decision. Obviously, the commission feels it can't scratch Johnson. I wonder.
Ruiz lands his jab. Earlier, he knocked Johnson into the ropes with a clean shot. So the first minute and a half of the round, or the first minute of the round, I should say, has been good to John Ruiz. Ruiz shooting a right hand there.
No one has been able to connect with anything but a jab at this point in time in the fight.
If you were managing Johnson, would you have asked the commission to make Ruiz shave his beard?
No, I don't think it's that big a factor, to be honest with you.
I agree. Quick right hand shot by Ruiz.
I think that Johnson caught it and parried it in the gloves. I'm not sure. And once again, he's throwing the left hook to the body, but the way that Ruiz bends his body and pushes his elbow down, it forces the punch to go below the belt.
Stop. Let him go. Let him out clean.
Ruiz had briefly predicted a fourth-round knockout for himself in the fight. Not a lot of people took that one seriously since the spectacular quick knockout.
There we go again, the same thing.
Yep.
It's going to continually happen.
And it's going to be another point deduction against Johnson.
The only thing Johnson can do is quit punching at his body, because he's not trying to hit him low. He's starting to punch at the body, but the way Ruiz drops his elbow and bends over, he forces him to hit him low. He's needed to sort of left uppercut at his chin and forget about the body.
Well, maybe I'm wrong about the point deduction.
That's a strong warning, you understand?
Strong warning. No apparent point deduction here. Okay, so Johnson, who lost a point earlier, doesn't lose a point here, which suggests to us that Cortez is aware of the pulling down problem.
Well, and also I don't think Cortez wants to see what are accidental low blows determine the outcome of the fight. But obviously, if they continue, it will be a serious issue.
And I didn't see that he actually pulled Johnson's head down also at the same time, which forced a blow.
Here's another look. Pull, hit. That may be the reason Cortez did not elect to take another point from Kirk. Now, Ruiz acting more and more as though a grudge match is developing here. And he throws Johnson into the ropes and tries to butt him with his head. And hits him on the break. And now let's see what Cortez will do about all that.
He did butt him.
That was a deliberate butt.
Let's go. Go ahead, come here.
If Ruiz wanted to answer him, it should have been below the belt, not above the neck.
All right, come on.
All right, how much time in the round? Hard to say. That's it, nothing.
Stay up a while. Stay up a couple rounds, okay? You beating his ass, Kirk. Stay up. Don't stay around. You did. Stay under control. Stay under control now. Don't get carried like him. He's mad in the mother. That's all we want.
He's back. And work with this prick. Work with him.
The referee, Joe Cortez, apparently did not see the headbutt. Take a look and see what happened here.
Ruiz is very enraged right here. He's very upset.
Right there.
The referee was on the other side where he couldn't see it.
Well, we know they want to fight. We know they're intense. Now we'd like to see a real fight happen.
Yeah, there were only 53 punches thrown between the two fighters in round 4, as they spent the bulk of the round grappling, fouling, arguing, waiting. Now Johnson lands a clean left hook and an uppercut. We asked Johnson's trainer, Curtis Coates, yesterday what strategy Kirk Johnson would use to try to get Ruiz out of the crab-like guard that makes him hard to hit with power shots. And Coates said, uppercut. Uppercut with both hands, bring his head up, and get it up in the open.
It's not that easy. Really, one of the best moves that Johnson can do is what he's using now, a stiff jab, up jab as we call it. Stepping it over there, and whenever he comes in, move off in a circle. Don't go straight back.
If you were training Johnson, how would you tell him to avoid low blows at this point?
Not to throw any body punches at all. To throw mainly jab, jab, and left hooks to the head, because the way that Ruiz comes in, you're going to always hit him with low blows.
Curtis Coates seemed to be saying to Johnson between rounds, you can win the fight easily upstairs with your jab. Just stay away from throwing body punches. Don't go low.
Good advice.
Once again, you see Johnson's foot movement,
which could be a big factor if he uses it more, because he's much more fluid on his feet as compared to Ruiz, who's more straightforward, got that little up and down like jig, up and down jig, up and down jig, and then he walks at you.
Takes conditioning to keep using it. Some question the real legitimacy of Johnson's conditioning because he's been known to put on a lot of weight between fights.
And he hasn't fought in a year.
Since his rough 12-round nondescript battle with Larry Donald at Coney Island last summer, won by Johnson.
The Ruiz doesn't put any fast pressure on him. He more goes up and down with his rhythm. So therefore, Johnson could easily outbox him and stay a step ahead of him with his footwork, as compared to a fighter who would put a lot of pressure fast.
This has been an excellent round for Kirk Johnson as he separated himself from Ruiz again, gone back to boxing from a distance, using his foot movement and greater hand speed to control Ruiz from space. Ruiz momentarily got a chance to put him in a phone booth, couldn't do it.
Remember, Ruiz is not being hit a lot, even though Johnson is winning the round, so he still have to be careful not burning himself out. Fighting a very good fight at this point in time. Placing your punches, you're not going to hit Ruiz with 3 or 4 punches ever. 1 or 2 and get away just to get the points.
You know, but Ruiz, like Larry Donald, is reluctant to throw his right hand.
Yes.
Looks good. Looks good. Nice stretch. All right, John. He's running out of gas. You got to pick up on him now. Got to pick it up.
On angles and use your head. On angles and use your head. You got to keep your hands up all the time, yeah?
It's been a rough affair. John Ruiz has at times seemed intent on trying to intimidate Kirk Johnson. Kirk Johnson, amid the grappling, has found himself penalized for low blows. The penalty was in round 1 when a point was deducted from Johnson. Then, moments ago in the 4th round, as you just saw, there was another delay as Ruiz was given a chance to recover from another low blow on which Johnson connected, and immediately following, Ruiz tried some roughhousing, throwing Johnson into the ropes and butting him on the face with his head. In round 5, Ruiz landed 4 of only 18 punches. Johnson 9 out of 39. Pace has slowed. Punches are coming one at a time.
Bring out,
There's a tentative right hand lead by Ruiz, who in the last round seemed only to throw left hand punches.
That's my clean.
That was a right hand attempt by Ruiz, one of the few and rare ones.
Concerted effort. Is the reluctance to throw right hands against Johnson because of Johnson's hand speed and the fear that he can counter with the left hook?
Yeah, and also I think he's had such, he's no success at with all landing right hand. He's reluctant about throwing them. But he should throw him more because he may land them. At least he's not being countered. It's not like if he throws a right hand, he's getting countered with a counter punch. He may miss, but that's about all.
Shots by Ruiz. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in a row. You saw Johnson flinch on the second body shot. And there's a stinging right hand to the ribs by Johnson. Johnson trying to sweep the right cross. Ruiz blocked it with his left hand.
looks as if he's shooting the straight right hand to the body to try to set him up and then shoot a right hand over top.
Got to put those punches together, though.
Yeah.
20 seconds apart doesn't create the same effect.
Nobody's putting combinations together, and I don't think you're going to see it this fight here. Best punch for Johnson right now would be his jab from down below and a left hook off of the jab.
Nondescript round.
We got to be close, Kirk. They're close. We got to dominate now. We got to dominate. We got to dominate.
Baby, you gotta get that. I gotta work, sir.
Say, listen.
You in my way.
Say, listen, Kirk. You got to pick it up now. You got to pick it up, baby. Come on. And you get
Hands up, keep your knees bent when you're walking in and go right through him. Jab first, that's all you gotta do, baby. I told you about his shoulders and his arm. You gotta punch him. Punch him in the shoulder, punch him in the arm. Keep that busy, just keep busy. Keep banging this kid.
Angles,
Pick it up a
champ,
little
angles.
bit, all right? But not stupid, be smart. Hands here, knees down, be smart. Come on.
Round 7 of a scheduled 12. Kirk Johnson against John Ruiz. Only 18 punches landed in the 6th round. And it has been a slow-paced fight. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
Okay, Jim. 4-1 and 1 even. 58-55. Kirk Johnson. Jim.
Watch the behind the head, understand? Let's go, time in.
You heard Joe Cortez, the referee, saying to each fighter, you got a problem? You got a problem? Let's have a fight.
All right, bring up.
A lot of work for Joe tonight. So Harold Letterman with Kirk Johnson ahead by 3 points at the halfway mark of the fight. You heard Curtis Cokes telling his fighter, you got to dominate. Don't make these rounds so close. Don't allow them to be so close. 3 respected Nevada judges at ringside tonight. Patricia Jarming Manning, Dave Moretti, Jerry Roth.
Clean round, give me a clean fight, guys.
Here's another low blow. And once again, Ruiz goes down. It's the 3rd time he's been on the canvas as a result of a low blow.
1 point. Low blow.
2nd point deduction against Johnson.
1 more, you're going to be disqualified.
And you heard that. 1 more, and he'll be disqualified, according to Cortez.
I don't know if Johnson can control himself. I would not throw any body punches, not even a straight right hand.
Well, the obvious precedent, Andrew Galata against Riddick Bowe, both in Madison Square Garden and then later in Atlantic City. Here's another look.
Once again, he's...
One more time, I'm going to disqualify this guy.
So his elbow forces the blows to go low.
Well, and he's crouching down.
Yes.
It doesn't excuse the low blows. Johnson has to show more discipline. But Ruiz is partly to blame. This kind of roughhousing fight, the only drama has been Ruiz on the floor hurt from low blows. And Ruiz counterpunching with a deliberate, but he seems to be in some real agony now.
Come on, Ruiz. Ruiz, you got time.
In fact, he gets a full 5 minutes, and if Cortez wants to tell him something useful, maybe he should tell him that only 2 minutes have passed and he still has 3 more remaining.
And also remind him that he cannot win this fight at this stage, at least to my belief, on a low blow disqualification.
Harold, what happens if the fight can't continue at this point?
Jim, John Ruiz cannot win on that low blow. If he doesn't continue after 5 minutes, he loses by abandonment.
Regardless of what's on the scorecards.
Right. It's an accidental low blow. He can take up to 5 minutes to recuperate. After that, he's got to continue.
So even if the judges were to have Ruiz ahead at this point, he must keep fighting in order to preserve his chance to win.
Correct. You don't go to the scorecards.
Now the danger is they've given Johnson a warning that if he lands another low blow, he will be disqualified.
You know, right now during this 5-minute break, there's been about as much action as there was while they were fighting, to tell you the truth.
Especially when you look over to see the commissioner, the promoters, and everyone congregating trying to decide what is the legal rights.
I'm looking at Al Bisek's stopwatch, and I can tell you that as of right now, there are 1 minute 50 seconds remaining in the rest period for Ruiz. Joe Cortez is checking now, and they'll tell him it's about 1 minute and 40 left to go. Don't know if Joe's going to go tell John Ruiz. Yeah, it looks though he will.
We got a minute to go. What the hell's going on with them? I already took points. I already took points. Walk around. You still got a minute.
Even if Ruiz can't go on, this is really no way a man should lose his title.
You still got time.
Or any fight for that matter.
You got 1 minute
Now he's
left.
got a minute.
Come on. You got 1 minute left. You want to go now? Come on. You want to go? What the hell? Okay, time in. Time in.
So Ruiz says he's ready to fight. 1 minute 52 seconds remaining in round 7 of a scheduled 12.
Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Cortez looking for the fight fire with fire response. Ruiz took 4 minutes and 6 seconds of his allotted 5 minutes to recover from his third trip to the canvas on a low blow. He lands a left hook.
Ruiz throws a punch and clinches you. Throws a punch and clinches. It makes it very difficult to get any sustained action, any steady flow.
Johnson facing disqualification if he lands another low blow. Now must be somewhat more hesitant.
All right, break out clean. Let's go.
We'll see if Johnson is any smarter than Andrew Galata at this point. Galata famously beating Riddick's bow twice and yet unable to hold back the low blows even when his corner was saying don't throw anything low. Don't throw anything below the chest.
It's very difficult sometimes for a fighter because that's an instinctive thing, especially when you fight a guy like Ruiz. The only punch you can hit him with is usually a left uppercut because he bends his body over to his right and he runs at you with his body bending down like that.
Ruiz has landed a couple of clean shots upstairs since resuming the action in this round. Johnson seems somewhat unsure as to exactly how to attack at this point.
Yeah, he's really nervous now. You can see that. And it's definitely altered his attack.
Let's take a look at some of the unfortunate events of the fight so far. Round 1, Ruiz hit low by Kirk Johnson. This was the first time Ruiz went to the canvas and took a couple minutes to recover. Round 4, another shot in the lower body. And the angry response from Ruiz, who threw Johnson into the ropes and headbutted him right in front of referee Joe Cortez. Round 7. Rabbit punches from both fighters here. Boom, boom, boom. That's when Cortez stepped in and pulled him apart and said, do you guys really want to fight or not? Then another low blow from Kirk Johnson. That's the one that's placed him in danger of being disqualified.
You know, I'd like to see another picture of that last low blow. It looked like a legal blow, but I could be mistaken.
All right, let's see how the truck responds to that as round 8 of a scheduled 12 arrives. Johnson has had 2 points deducted for low blows, and now, as you see, at least on Letterman's card, the fight gets much closer. Because Johnson seemed tentative after the resumption of action with nearly 2 minutes to go in the round. Didn't do much the remainder of the round. And probably the case can be made that Ruiz won it.
You know, from what I saw in the replay, I didn't see that much of a real dangerous low blow. It seemed to be more to the side. Maybe I saw something different. But to me, I think a big part maybe Ruiz is active to a certain degree.
Up, Johnson just landed one on the
that was on the top. That was on the top.
Let's keep going. Let's go.
It was close. And Johnson alertly almost pulled the punch at the end. He realized where it was going. Johnson getting reckless now as he seems to want to try to knock Ruiz out and rescue himself from the danger of disqualification.
Well, that's exactly what happened with Evander. And then Ruiz threw a right hand right out of the blue and hit Evander right on the chin, because you're at a certain stage, Ruiz starts getting to the point where it looked like he's about to cry. And that's when he's very dangerous in, because you don't expect him to punch.
All right, break out clean, step back clean.
As the pace slows, Ruiz's chances go up.
Break out.
Johnson lands 3 upshoot jabs and slips away from the right hand by Ruiz.
All right, stop. Hold. Let's go. Behind the head, let's go.
Blood trickling from John Ruiz's nose now.
Let's go. The punch behind the head, let's go.
That's the nose that Ruiz had surgically repaired following his 3rd bout with Evander Holyfield. In fact, his manager, Norman Stone, blamed some of his performance in the Holyfield fight on blood dripping into his lungs and windpipe from the crushed nose.
John Ruiz needs to just start fighting, period. He's not doing anything for the most part.
Johnson, with activity and movement, seems to have won the round.
Oh, stop.
Despite his apparent tentativeness as he faces the danger of disqualification.
Safe to say this fight is not going to be shown at the Museum of Modern Art.
Make him like too fucking close. You hear me? Don't do anything foolish, but you gotta move on angles in this guy, Johnny. Gotta get him. You hear me? Yep. You gotta move on angles.
Come on, Johnny. You're gonna have to fight here for yourself. Not necessary now.
Come on, man, you all right? Shit, we got to come on tape. We got to take this thing. He ain't gonna give it to him. Okay? Okay. We got to take it. I need you to get close to him. That jab is going fine.
Let's take a look at the last called low blow. You tell us whether it was a low blow or not.
No, that's not.
That is not a low blow.
So, it seems to me that Ruiz is more looking to try to win the fight rather than to beat Johnson.
Guys, why is it not a low blow? It was below the belt. Why is it not?
It was not below the belt. It was on the border. It was a clean punch, Jim, in my judgment.
Punches in round 8. According to CompuBox, Ruiz only threw 11, landed only 3. Johnson 13 out of 44. Not a high efficiency rate, but seemingly the clear winner of the round. Johnson throwing his jab with authority now. If you're going to rely on your jab to try to win the fight, let it go, babe. And he's doing it.
All he has to do is just stick to his jab. In the case they throw a hook off of that, I would not throw any uppercuts at his hand. He didn't get hit there. He shot grazed him.
He rolled with that right hand, and the crowd gave Ruiz a much greater response than he deserved because Johnson turned it into a glancing blow.
Ruiz has a good left jab himself. I'm wondering why he's not jabbing anymore.
He landed it frequently in the early rounds.
Very good jab.
Hasn't seemed to want to throw it as much recently. Probably because Johnson's side-to-side movement prevents Ruiz from launching the jab.
There he threw a jab there and he landed.
Now Johnson is able to sidestep the jab. Johnson feinting and jabbing on his own. Ruiz does have head movement. That's one of the reasons you wind up throwing to his body. Johnson's just going to have to live with that from here on in.
Yeah, that was a good move on Johnson's part there, to move off to the right a little bit. But Ruiz needs to come back and try it again. He's just waiting too much.
If Ruiz doesn't throw his jab, and he only threw one in the first minute and a half of this round, then the space is clear and open for Johnson to do what he wants. There's a body shot from Ruiz and a pretty good tackle, followed by a tackle back.
No, there was a right hand in there that stung Johnson.
Yep, and the referee didn't catch it. A good right hand.
And now Johnson tries to hold, and Ruiz tries to follow. Johnson happy to hear the sticks.
Good move on Johnson's part.
Goes down on a punch to the back of the head after the bell. No count. Now to knockdown. Ruiz's corner going berserk. Ironically, it was Johnson's corner which filed complaints about referee Joe Cortez, at least suggesting that they were worried about Cortez. There's the shot that Larry Merchant talked about. Stinging right hand.
Beautiful counter right hand. And you know, if Johnson can come back and make a good fight out of this, and that isn't scored as a knockdown, it could be very interesting when the final scoring comes in.
Well, Ruiz already has benefited from 2-point deductions against Johnson.
Yes, right.
If he had gotten a knockdown point there, then who knows where the scorecards would be. Yep. Ruiz believes he still has an advantage and wants to press it. Harold, very quickly, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, real close. 85, 84, 5-3, 1 even. Kirk Johnson. He just won enough of those rounds, 4, 5, and 6, and then he had a good round in the 8th to hold on to a 1-point lead, but it's real close.
Ruiz to let his right hand go again, whether he misses or not, because he doesn't get hit when he throws it. He should let it go. He needed to go all out right now.
Particularly with Johnson hampered by the potential of a disqualification, unable to throw body shots, Ruiz, it seems, would have little to stop him from throwing a lot of punches at this point. But now Johnson gets to reestablish himself.
Johnson is watching Ruiz's right hand. The right hand that Ruiz landed wasn't really a lead right hand, it was more of a counter right hand.
Ruiz's corner probably believes that their man should have gotten credit for 2 knockdowns in that last round.
Yes, and that could be a very big factor if Johnson can come back in this fight and doesn't get knocked out.
Be interesting to look at a replay at some point and see if in fact the knockdown at the end of the round was after the bell, as I said it was. I think it was pretty clear. Johnson seems to be getting his wits back and his legs. Didn't have him at the end of the last round, that's for sure. Body shot by Johnson, a little bit of a risk, but he got it in.
That right hand body shot.
John Ruiz is a hard guy.
Very difficult to fight, and he just springs out of nowhere sometimes when you least expect. That was on the top.
That's a disqualification,
no.
and Ruiz is going to be the winner in the fight.
That's what he was looking for anyway. And that was on the top of the cup.
A fitting conclusion to a horrible fight.
John Ruiz benefits from Kirk Johnson's inability to keep his punches up down the stretch. In the preceding round, he threw no body punches. Here, whether his mind drifted or whether he felt the necessity of going back to the body to stop Ruiz's assault, he went back to throwing body blows and didn't get away with it.
That was the instinctive thing with a fighter, to throw the left hook to the body. Maybe I'm wrong. I saw it on the top of the cup. That was instinctive.
And once again, that punch was pretty much in the same place as the one that you guys felt was not previously a low blow.
I thought that was a little bit low as compared to the other one, but it's irrelevant. It's academic.
Yep, it's the third one.
And we have just had a conclusion that makes me feel I'm glad the fight is over, whatever happened.
Do you suppose now that Ruiz and manager Norman Stone will say in the post-fight interview that they've earned a shot at Lennox Lewis?
I'm sure that they'll say they've earned a shot at Muhammad Ali.
A disappointing end to a rough, unusual fight. Disappointing in the sense that it is not competition, but rather disqualification, which produces Ruiz's victory and the first loss of Kirk Johnson's career. And now let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 17 seconds in round number 10. After repeated penalties and warnings for low blows, our referee in charge, Joe Cortez, stops the contest. The winner by way of disqualification, and still the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, John the Quiet Man Ruiz.
It will be fascinating at some point to see what the official scorecards held in store for us down the stretch. See what the suspense might have been like in the closing rounds. Final CompuBox numbers from a slow-paced fight. Ruiz, 96 out of a total of 204 punches thrown. And Johnson landing only 4 more, although throwing 182 more. Jabs, Kirk Johnson landing more and throwing more than twice as many. For much of the fight, Johnson seemed to be controlling the distance between himself and Ruiz with the jab.
All right, hey, Ernie, I need you. Where's Frankie? Frankie?
And now Larry Merchant has made his way into the ring for the aftermath, and let's go to Merchant with John Ruiz.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, John. Why was it such a foul-filled fight?
I don't know. You know what I mean? I was fighting clean all the time. You know what I mean? It seemed like he just wanted to get a couple of times rest, so he hit me down below. So, it's just something that I had to catch my breath each time he hit me low. You know what I mean? It threw me off the game plan.
What was the game plan?
Like always, throw more jabs, work around, and then, as soon as I got started, that's when he hit me low, and then that was the problem. You know what I mean? I don't know what, I still want to have kids, you know what I mean? So I don't know what was going on through his head.
You retaliated with what looked like a deliberate butt at one time. Was that just instinctive? Were you afraid that you might get penalized for it?
I was just pissed off, you know what I mean? I'm tired of this, you know what I mean? He was hitting me down low all through the fight. You know what I mean? There's so much I could take, you know what I mean? And out of frustration, I did that, but that I just lost my head there for a few seconds, but I managed to retain myself. I just want to go out there and keep fighting. You know what I mean? I wanna take on that girl, Lennox Lewis, and you know, improve who's the real heavyweight champion.
Right. Did you think there was a knockdown at the end of the 9th round? What is your recollection of that?
I caught him with a good right hand, and that's when I felt him kind of hold me. I was just trying to let him loose, trying to push him off me, and you know, he couldn't keep his balance. So, you know, as soon as I moved out of the way, he just fell down.
All right, you've called out that you want to fight Lennox Lewis, but Evander Holyfield is now the mandatory challenger for you. Are we looking at the possibility of a 4th fight?
That I'm not sure. You gotta talk to my man Don King right here for that, you know. But my man goes to unify the titles because I want to fight Lennox Lewis so bad. I just want to prove to the world who has the real belt.
Must be back there smoking. And he'll make the sprint to the ring. I tell you, Ruiz always looks ready to fight. He runs into the ring. He runs down the aisle, runs into the ring, and then when he gets up after he's been introduced and waiting for the first bell, he holds those hands up in a ready position.
And tonight, kind of the winner of the Franco Harris look-alike contest. Right now, let's go to Michael Buffer.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Madison Square Garden, Don King Productions is proud to present, for the first time in boxing history, dos Puerto Ricanos, 2 Puerto Ricans fighting for a world heavyweight title. Brought to you in association with Fight Night, King Vision, and sponsored by CMX Exchange. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission, Chairman Ron Scott Stevens, Commissioner at ringside Ray Locasio, and the World Boxing Association, President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor at ringside York Van Nixon. The 3 judges at ringside scoring this bout will be Guy Jutras, Tommy Kazmarek, and Oscar Perez. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Wayne Kelly. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Madison Square Garden, New York City, USA, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trimmed with red, and officially weighing 222.5 pounds. His professional record, 24 victories, including 15 knockouts, with only 2 defeats. Damas y caballeros de San Juan, Puerto Rico, the challenger, one of the top ranked heavyweights in the world today, Fres Oquendo. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black with white letters, and officially weighing 240 pounds. His professional record, 39 victories, including 27 knockouts, against 5 defeats with 1 bout even. With Puerto Rican heritage and pride, he fights out of Chelsea, Massachusetts, the reigning, defending, 2-time WBA heavyweight champion of the world, John, the Quiet Man, Ruiz.
John, Fres, we're boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world. I expect a clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Shake hands. Come out boxing at the bell. Good luck.
Cornerman getting into it before the fight.
Fighters are perfectly calm.
Norman Stone is probably the most passionate trainer there is about his fighter. And this is what I meant about Ruiz always looking ready. He's got his hands in the ready position. Look at him. He's pacing, ready to go out. He waits for that first bell. And here we go.
And I'll tell you, he had that Mike Tyson stare, too, the early Mike Tyson. Never took his eyes off Oquendo all through the introductions. He's business. I mean, he's all business. And he's so much more of a confident champion than he was before.
want to reiterate, I'm surprised the commission didn't ask Ruiz to take some of that hair off of his face. It's not a big deal. Let's see who can out-jab the other. Ruiz got a good jab, but often he just uses it once or twice and then rushes in and will grab an opponent, having established that jab. But Oquendo has made a living off of his jab as well. So, I think that's part of this battle. There is who can establish the better jab in this fight tonight.
I think that's absolutely right. Both these guys have some pop. Both these guys can get you out of there, although neither has really made a career out of that.
Oquendo is 24-2, and he is this close to being 26-0. He lost. He was stopped by David Tua in a fight that he was miles ahead on in the 9th round of that fight. And 2 rounds away from victory, he ended up being stopped by Tua. And of course, many felt that he did beat Chris Bird last year, but just didn't get the decision. That's how close Oquendo is to being undefeated.
Started fighting in the Chicago area, now spends quite a lot of time in Puerto Rico. There's the trick of Ruiz that Oquendo is using early in this fight, and then he's just kind of pushing down on his opponent's neck and shoulder.
There's that jab by Ruiz. He has not been rushing in right after the jab and holding the way he normally does.
Clinching early in this fight.
Could be a roughhouse fight. Wayne Kelly will earn his money in this one. Wayne Kelly, by the way, was the man who disqualified Andrew Gulata in one of his fights with Riddick Bowe. Ironically, he's back here tonight when Gulata attempts to win a world title. Now, that was a good jab there by Oquendo, and he did stop Ruiz right in his tracks as Ruiz was beginning to rush in.
Nice uppercut right there by Ruiz.
I expect many of these rounds to be close and difficult to score, which is why we have the lovely and talented Ron Borges here at ringside.
At least talented. Yeah, there we go. Barely. End of the first round, and there you have, I think, in microcosm what this fight might be all about.
All right, let's look at Norman Stone, Stoney as they call him, and with one of the cornermen from Oquendo. That's not the first punch-out Stoney has been involved
No,
in.
that started at the press conference on Wednesday between the two of them. They were going at it pretty good then. Security had to come in, so it's round 2 of that.
Good job.
Well, as Rich said, I mean, he's nothing if not passionate. He's been with John Ruiz since he was 16 years old.
Yeah, and he will get in the face of anybody who says anything. He will challenge anyone who says anything about his guy.
I think all you need to know about Norman Stone is he mortgaged his house 3 times to keep John Ruiz fighting without working.
Papa Trinidad is in the corner with Fres Oquendo. They had a brief time where they were not together, but they're back together once again.
Round 2. Oquendo doing a lot of clutching in that first round.
When Fres was a teenager and in high school, and although he participated and was successful in amateur boxing, he was known probably more for his football, don't you think, Barry? And
yeah, was a football quarterback.
When I say break, let go, both of you.
He's got a lot thicker, I think, since he started fighting too. You gave that first round to Ruiz, right? Yeah, I just think that Oquendo is slipping already into what seems to happen to so many guys who fight Ruiz. He's neither been fast nor fresh. I mean, he's just standing there, and he's getting hit with jabs. He's not letting his hands go too much. And if you're going to be on the outside, and you're an outside fighter, then you better punch. And he's watching. Ruiz, the more experienced of these two.
Don't you think in his dreams, John dreams about being really a stylish fighter who
he
the
dreams of
crowd
being
is saluting after the fight?
Sugar Ray Ruiz is what he dreams, but it doesn't seem to happen. But you know, I do think that people are starting to recognize that what he does, he may not do pretty, but it's effective. It's a very inelegant style of boxing, but it's effective. Like Fres thought he'd come in there and he left with a left hand in the face. That seems to happen to guys and cause them confusion and ultimately frustration.
Listen, Johnny Ruiz has fought a real good lineup of opposition throughout his career. He hasn't been afraid to fight anybody. And it was a long time living down the David Tua one-round knockout defeat that he had. But you know something, that's brought up less and less as time goes on.
Well, that's right, and he really changed his style after that fight. He became a lot more like this, catching guys coming in, and he was a little bit more of a stand-up boxer back there until Tua stopped him. Changed his style. After that Tua fight, he didn't talk to anybody for about 6 hours. Showed up the next day at the gym and said, "Okay, let's go to work." Wow.
And although people may not think that Ruiz can hit hard, he did knock down Evander Holyfield. He did put Kirk Johnson down. He did hurt Hasim Rahman on a couple of occasions with right hands in his last fight. So he's got some punch.
Two, and the second round very much like the first. Crowd doesn't like it, but hey, it's a John Ruiz fight. This guy's been around a little bit, and there is the boss of all the are they apprentice? I don't know.
Yeah. Out of the Sopranos.
Yep, Michael Imperioli. Jeremy Shockey, tight end of the New York Giants.
He is quite a figure here in New York. And Iron Mike, who may yet reappear one more time. I don't think he's out of the mix.
Well, he's still maybe the biggest cash cow out there in the sport of boxing.
And I talked to Mike last week in Las Vegas when he attended the Lehman Brewster fight. He said, "Yeah, I think I'll be fighting probably in July again, and then hope for something big before the end of the year."
Round 3. First 2 rounds pretty much carbon copies of one another. There's the Oquendo jab. We haven't seen much of that.
Yeah, it's a good quick one, too, if he can establish it, Gary. That's what we talked about earlier. He's got to establish that jab.
Ruiz turned him, hit him with the right hand.
And the time to put it on it sometimes is right as Ruiz is about to start that charge in. He'll get closer to you and he'll run into it. And you can interrupt his momentum on the way in and discourage him from doing that. Wayne Kelly just acting that guys not to hold and so much, and they will pick up the action here.
I haven't seen Ruiz dissuaded too much from fighting the fight that he intends to fight.
Well, at this rate, we could have 12 very close rounds.
Well, only if Fres Oquendo starts to throw some punches, which he seems relatively reluctant to do. You see him diving in there, and he's clutching as much as Ruiz. When Georgie Benton, the old trainer, always used to say, win this fight, look good next fight. John Ruiz has taken that to graduate school.
He certainly has. And Oquendo is not doing what we talked about and establishing the tempo that this fight will be fought at, nor establishing the style that the fight will be fought at.
No, in fact, Ruiz is doing all of that. He's fighting a typical John Ruiz fight. It's sort of what I was talking about earlier about scoring. When I look at this thing, who's in charge of the ring? Who's dictating the terms of engagement? Who's dictating the pace? It's all Wayne Kelly. If you want to call it a pace, it's a low.
I think Wayne Kelly is a manager to some extent.
And the crowd, considering this is only the 3rd round, is reacting quite negatively here. But again, that's kind of the story of a John Ruiz fight. he makes you fight his fight. In this case, though, Oquendo seemed willing to do it right from the start. I don't know where all the speed went and the right hands he was going to drop on him and the snapping jab.
There it was. He came from underneath with it.
Hitting on the break, that was good. And he kind of missed with that right hand also. Uppercut back there. Action of the fight toward the end of round 3 from Fres Oquendo.
Right, last 30 seconds he seemed to be picking it up a little. Let's see if that carries over into the next round.
Gotta keep your fucking hands up with this kid. I told you, hits on the break. Come on, baby. Just leave it there.
Both of you guys are holding. I'm warning him as well. Both of you guys are holding.
Terminaste muy bien.
You finished real good. You use the right combinations. You got every time you go in, throw that jab, jab, jab. On the top, then on the bottom. You're doing real well. You got to use that combination. Up, down. On the sides, and don't stand in front of him.
That was Jose Bonilla with the instructions to Oquendo, and you saw leaning in from the outside with a couple of words of advice, Don Felix Trinidad, Papa Trinidad.
This is round 4 for the WBA Heavyweight Championship. Right hand from Ruiz.
Definitely the Heavyweight Championship of Puerto Rico. Whoa!
Full takedown.
Both of these guys take their Puerto Rican heritage, Puerto Rican connection, the whole fact that they're Latinos fighting for a heavyweight title. Really, they really take it seriously, and they take it as a real source of pride for themselves.
When Ruiz won the title, I mean, he was to say that he was feted in Puerto Rico is to make a great understatement. And the whole country turned out to greet him.
Ruiz taking that opportunity to really load up inside while they were in that clinch. I mean, he hit Oquendo hard with those 2 rights to the body while they were in that clinch.
A lot of punching in this fight, but again, that is pretty much as advertised. Good combination from Oquendo.
'97, '98, '99, Barry, when we were calling a lot of those Oquendo fights, he was usually fighting right around 210, 212. Up heavier now at 222 and a half, but that still puts him in the landscape of the heavyweight division today. Within that context, is a small heavyweight.
Yeah, and it's not fat. I mean, he's, I mentioned earlier, he's just thicker than he was.
Ruiz, on the other hand, went up considerably for his last fight with Rockmont, because he was normally fighting in the high 220s, low 230s. Went up to 241. Down goes Ruiz again with that. Not a knockdown, of course. And he's 240 tonight.
Any minute now, a fight may break up. It's possible. Although oftentimes that is not the case. Now, how do you score that? I was just about to ask you, Ron. I have no idea.
Ahí la llave, cuando entre el hook, el gancho,
jab, jab, your hooks. You got to use all your combinations. Just like we did at the gym. Use those combinations. Throw those hands in.
Hay que hacer un poquito más de trabajo.
Well, Madison Square Garden has had the likes of Bruno Sammartino and Hulk Hogan in the past, and this looked like these two guys might have fit right in that last round with what we saw on a couple of occasions, including that takedown. Second time it was just the one guy, Ruiz, who went down.
Well, I can only say that nobody won that round. Somebody likely lost it. And I don't know who. Ron, I don't know. What'd you wind up doing there? Well, I hate even rounds, but that was so ugly that I have to call it an even round. You got a lot of things going on. Ruiz is known for jabbing and then clutching, but what's happening now is he jabs, and before he can grab, Oquendo's grabbing him, and so they're wrestling each other. And no one's getting any punching distance. And then when they both get on the inside, Ruiz occasionally punches in the body, and Oquendo punches nowhere. They're right there. I mean, you're talking about two guys making a silent contract. I mean, they're asking to dance. No wonder the fans are booing.
Yeah, it's not. Well, we expected it was not going to be a pretty fight, but this has stretched that a bit.
Well, we have not seen the best of Fres Oquendo yet in this fight. I assume we'll see better. Fres looked better than this against Chris Bird, but again, that was a different kettle of fish. I mean, you had a boxer in front of him. He was more aggressive. And as I made in our opening comments, Barry, I was talking about the fact that a lot of people think when they get in the ring with John Ruiz, they know exactly how to fight him and how they're going to fight him and how the fight's going to unfold. But when they finally get Ruiz in that awkward style in front of him, it just doesn't work out that way.
And you become confused, and then you really don't know when to throw your punches. You're afraid to let your hands go. You find yourself clutching, or he's clutching you. And you tend to completely abandon yourself. You could hear in the corner when his cornermen were talking to Oquendo between rounds. Do it like we did it in the gym. And you could hear almost the questioning side of that. Why aren't we doing it like we did it in the gym? And no one seems to have an answer.
And it looks as though Oquendo's jab, when he throws it, could be the kind of weapon that could win him some rounds. And certainly Ruiz is at least there for one or two jabs.
But really, in recent years, the only one who did it like they did it in the gym when they got in the ring with John Ruiz was Roy Jones Jr.
That's correct.
You gotta start boxing. This is like ridiculous, all right? Let's keep it clean, box.
I think Wayne Kelly just didn't he say that was ridiculous?
Yeah.
How often do you hear that?
He said you got to start boxing.
Did you see that look on Oquendo's face, though? He came in behind his jab, and when he thought he was safe and got hit with enough of a left hand that, he didn't like it.
Here's another round for you to score, Ron. Oh, goodness. Might have stolen it in the last 10 seconds. This is the first of two heavyweight championship fights upcoming here. This one for the WBA heavyweight championship. And let's go backstage right now to Wally Matthews. Talk about the second one we have upcoming, Wally.
Thanks, Barry. I'm here with a very serene-looking Andrew Galata, getting ready to fight Chris Bird in the main event here. Andrew, you haven't had a major fight in a couple of years now. Do you feel confident going into this one?
Yeah, sure. I feel very comfortable. Huh?
How do you deal with a guy like Chris Bird? He's a lefty. He's a guy who's very hard to hit. He's not really a hard puncher. He can be frustrating. What do you do to fight a guy like that?
Well, the main reason is just hit him, Just hit him. That's the whole thing about it,
The last time you were here in the Garden, obviously a big melee broke out after the fight. Do you feel you need to redeem yourself tonight for what happened last time when you fought Riddick Bowe here?
Well, there's a chance, man.
He certainly does have a chance to change history tonight. Andrew Galata in the main event against Chris Bird coming up. Back to you guys at ringside.
Okay, thanks very much, Wally. And Andrew Galata was very confident when we talked to him today. And interestingly enough, we've had some people say that when he when he stammers a little bit, he's very nervous. And I thought it was interesting in that interview that Wally just did, he did not.
And the thing that he says there, too, about just hit him. Just hit, what are you going to do to win? Well, I just got to hit him. And I think, I know it sounds very simple, but I think he's talking about just hit him anywhere, touch him. Hit him in the arms, hit him in the wherever. They don't necessarily have to all be on target because you're gonna miss a lot with Bird, or you're not gonna land the kind of punches you want to land cleanly on Bird. So it just make him feel something along, as you go, whether it's on the arms or the elbow or on the chest. But get in there somewhere.
Meantime, this one continues to be puzzling, to say the least.
Oquendo had some good success right at the end of the last round, and he seemed encouraged by it. He raised his arms as he went back to the corner, and now there's the jab. See, that's what Fres can do. He can double and triple up with that jab pretty good. That's the first time I've seen him throw a triple jab like that in this fight.
Looks like he's trying to do it more in this round.
Yep. He's looking to establish that jab.
Well, I think that's his ticket, to tell you the truth. The dangerous thing for both fighters when you're fighting this type of round after round is you can lose the rounds on just 2 or 3 punches. So you end up really being at risk all the time of losing a round, even though neither guy is hurting each other. Nobody's doing very much. You do a little bit, you win the round.
That's right. You're looking right now on Oquendo having landed 5 or 6 jabs, probably carrying around to this point because of that.
Yeah, and in fact, even with just those 5 or 6 jabs, to me, this is the clearest round in the fight. You're right, Barry. Ruiz is not throwing at all. He's really getting drilled with that jab more and more. And that's what Oquendo said he wanted to do, and it's what he has to do to win the fight, win it from the outside.
First time I think he's established it. And he's made Ruiz a little reluctant to march in the way that he normally does. Because of that jab. Good round for Fres Oquendo.
You're doing real good. You're doing real good. Just keep your pace. You got to use more combinations. We're going to the second half of the fight now, and you're doing real good.
Work hard. Come on.
I was impressed with Oquendo's jab in that last round. He did real well with it. First time he really established it. There's that triple jab we talked about. First time in the fight, he tripled up on it. And later on, as Ruiz walked in, he walked right into the punch. And then he stopped coming forward. But that's what that's designed to do, Barry.
Yeah, and I thought he did it very effectively in that round. I thought the most lopsided round of the fight. And now we come to round 7, and I think Ruiz is going to have to find a little something else here.
Yeah, he may have to do a little adjusting now.
Here's your card through 6 rounds, and you've given Oquendo the last 4, as have I. Ruiz has finally been stopped by that jab, and you're right. He's going to now have to see if he can adjust himself a little bit. He wants to get back inside or draw Oquendo back inside. And he's not going to be able to win the fight on the outside. Crowd with the old barnyard chant here.
Ruiz was looking to try to cut the ring there on Oquendo as Oquendo's starting to use his legs a little bit. But right back to the jab is Fres. But Johnny hasn't landed a real effective punch down the last round and a half.
No, absolutely not. There's been no power punches in this fight at all to speak of. top of the head.
Let him go. Fres, let him go. You're going to lose a point. Right, next time, you lose a point. Come on. Next time,
And a warning from Wayne Kelly to Fres Oquendo.
I got to tell you, the first 2 years of Fres Oquendo's career, the last thing I ever gave thought to was him walking out of the ring with a heavyweight championship belt someday.
No, that's absolutely right. As you said, they tried to get him beat. They put him in against Duncan Dakawari, who was one of their real bright lights, and Oquendo walks away with a 6-round decision.
Well, I remember nobody thought he was going to beat Clifford Etienne. He was bouncing him up and down off the canvas like a yo-yo.
7 knockdowns. Even when he fought Phil Jackson, Jackson was on a bit of an upswing there. And I think they thought he was going to lose to him, too. I'll tell you, if the ugly nature of this match persists, they should vacate the title and just start all over. This is ridiculous. Not to be critical.
Very ungenerous comment there, Ron.
Hey, come on.
Ruiz still trying to jab, but it looks to me like Oquendo can out-jab him. We were wondering who would win the battle of the jabs. And John has got a good jab.
He does have a pretty strong jab when he sets himself to punch him. But in this fight, it may be all he needs. Ruiz just not doing any business offensively at all.
You gotta pick it up, baby. Come on, never mind, yeah. You gotta get the fuck out there and fight this fucking guy. You're not coming in at an angle, you're going straight in. Come on, you gotta start working. You got 8 rounds. You got 4 fucking rounds left. Let's go with this kid. Come on, Johnny, you work too fucking hard. Come on, man.
You have to be a little more consistent. You got to start throwing more punches. Jab, jab, and then your right hand, and then come back with the left hand.
Tell him not to hold. Tell him not to hold. All right? Tell him not to hold. I'll tell him not to hold.
You got to work this guy. You got to work him up and keep him on his toes.
Seconds out.
And now the question is, as we get ready for this round, can Fres Oquendo win the WBA heavyweight championship with a jab alone?
If I had to answer that question right now, I'm saying yes. I was going to say, you mean without fighting? I mean, it's just unbelievable. Ruiz looks incredibly flat in the corners. I mean, Stoney was trying to get him fired up in some way. You saw him sort of shaking his head from side to side. He just looks flat. Wants him to come in at an angle. He said he's coming right at him, which is exactly what he's doing.
And even more to the point was, he says, you got to go out and brawl with this guy. Which I think might be a concession is, look, forget about the battle of jabs.
Now there's 3 jabs from Oquendo. A little reddening around the eyes of John Ruiz. There's the right hand behind the jab.
Oquendo, I think, is getting a little more bold here. And beginning to feel like he's taking control of the fight. And starting to put some right hands behind those jabs now as well. Nothing really overwhelming yet, but Oquendo just looks pretty confident in there to me.
Yeah, he does. Ruiz did get there with the right hand a moment ago, but it did no damage. Ruiz, he's throwing a few more punches in this round.
First 6 rounds, all very close, though. And you never know in that kind of a case. That, I mean, the judges' scorecards could be all over the place.
Sure.
And varying with each other.
And now you know why Evander Holyfield refuses to retire.
Yeah. In fact, Evander Holyfield has rejoined the Don King stable and is looking to fight the winner of one of these 2 fights here tonight. Is hopeful of that occurring for him anyway. There's a mini heavyweight tournament really going on over a 3-week span that will conclude next week when Vitaly Klitschko takes on Corey Sanders.
John Ruiz having a little bit better offensive round here. He's bringing the right hand behind the jab in this round. Took a right hand there from Oquendo. There's that left hand, right hand behind it.
A bit more fighting being done in this round now. Less wrestling.
What a concept. Coming to the end of round 8. And again, the crowd booing lustily here. Coming up, battle for the IBF Heavyweight Championship. Andrew Golota given another chance. Title holder Chris Bird. Bird and Golota for the IBF version of the heavyweight title still to come. And there's a guy who is, as you said just a moment ago, Rich, trying to get himself back into the thick of things, and I'm sure he's got to be licking his chops watching this.
Well, of course, he already had 36 rounds with John Ruiz, so you know, probably deep in his heart, he's probably hoping that Oquendo wins this because he get a different situation.
Saw him with the headset on there, working with the Colonel, Bob Sheridan, on the international broadcast of this fight.
Bob Sheridan, I think, right about 700 title fights that he's broadcast, right? Oh, big left hook, one of the bigger punches of the fight. I think half the crowd missed it.
And Oquendo held on again, but that may be redundant. Ruiz wants to get at it.
I think that was Ruiz's best single punch of the fight.
I get the sense Ruiz has decided he better fight.
That would be good.
Yeah. Oquendo got tagged right at the beginning of the round. It looks just a little less confident here as the round is evolving, and Ruiz seems a little bit encouraged.
Ruiz started to pick it up a little bit offensively in the last round.
Oquendo needs to go
close quarters by Oquendo.
And Ruiz holds on there, but Oquendo needs to go right back to that jab. When he had his best rounds, that's what he had working.
Let him go.
The jab seems to be the weapon that Oquendo needs.
This round, he hasn't really got it on track, though.
No.
I think one of the reasons was he ran into that big left hook at the beginning of the round by Ruiz. But right here is where he would throw it. I mean, you see Ruiz threatening to kind of come in. Calling for it over in the corner of Oquendo. They want him to throw that jab.
Ruiz having a little better round here.
This is what Norman Stone asked him to do. Brawl with him. Go out and make a brawl with him. That's what he's doing.
That right hand hurt Oquendo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oquendo's in trouble.
Oquendo is hurt. Oquendo's legs were betraying him here. Good body shot again by Ruiz.
I think Oquendo has been a little dinged this whole round.
Since that first punch.
Right. There's a big crowd here at Madison Square Garden, and I think 90% of the fans missed that punch at the beginning of the round.
But that hurt him, and then he got him with the right hand just about 20 seconds ago, which really well. Yeah, biggest round of the fight, no question about it, for John Ruiz. Right now, let's go backstage. Wally Matthews is with Chris Bird. Wally?
Thank you, Barry. Chris Bird is preparing for his defense against Andrew Golota by watching the semifinal here between Oquendo and John Ruiz. What do you think of this fight so far?
A lot of holding. A lot of holding. It's awkward type of fight. It is a lot of holding going on.
Now, this very well may be your next opponent, the winner of this fight. How do you beat a John Ruiz? He seems to be very awkward and difficult to beat, even if he's not pleasant to watch.
Well, John Ruiz is that kind of fighter, but you know, he's trying to figure out what Fres Oquendo is doing. Fres Oquendo seems like he's doing all the holding.
All right, so now you have a chance to close the show strong here. Are you pumped to go out and give the Garden crowd a big show?
Oh yeah, I'm excited. You know, being main event, and hopefully I'll tell him this thing.
All righty, the star of the show tonight, Chris Bird, getting ready to go to battle with Andrew Golota. Back to you guys at ringside.
All right, and we'll watch this battle, which suddenly has shifted in favor of John Ruiz. Right hand in close quarters again by Oquendo, but Ruiz still right there. I was wondering in that last round if we were going to see a repeat of the David Tua scenario there for Oquendo. And on your card, it is all even.
It's been a difficult fight to score because so many of these rounds are a matter of 3 or 4 punches. And the last round was actually one of the easier ones to score. Someone finally landed some heavy shots, which was Ruiz. Now Ruiz has got to do that again instead of slipping back into bobbing and weaving and weaving and bobbing and not throwing any punches.
See, I know you're wrong because that's the way I have it scored too, and I never get it right.
This is a hard fight to score for all these judges.
Right hand by Oquendo and a little elbow, yeah, boy, just for good measure. More than a little elbow. I'm surprised Wayne Kelly didn't see that, the referee. Norman Stone was all over John Ruiz, really trying to encourage him and pump him up between rounds. And Ruiz was nodding his head, nodding his head. He was definitely hearing the message. Well, this fight still hangs very much in a balance in these final 3 rounds. Although you mentioned this earlier, I think there's a very good chance we could see some very divergent scoring by the judges. Oquendo trying to get back to his boxing basics now with that jab. But Ruiz is moving that head right now, and he's avoiding some of those jabs.
And Chris Bird, made a good point, I thought, in the locker room where he talked about Oquendo being the guy who's doing most of the holding. Even though there's a tendency, I think, to look at Ruiz as the guy who's doing the holding. A lot of times that's not what's happening.
Certainly early in the fight, Oquendo was doing most of the clutch-ups. Ruiz had him going in the 9th round, and the reason I brought up the David Tua situation was because Ruiz, or rather Oquendo, was way ahead of David Tua when they fought him. It was the 9th round in that fight when he ran into a shot and got finished off by Tua. Whatever trouble Oquendo might have been in the last round, he seems to have it back, and he's really trying to rough Ruiz up here. Bounce back round for Oquendo after he had been hurt in that 9th. Crowd back to booing.
There's only 2 rounds left. Listen to me. You got to fight. This fight is very tight. It's very close. You got to win this next 2 rounds. Breathe in. Come on. We're going to the 11th round.
Championship round.
Money, yeah, you gotta stop flipping those jabs. Money.
Okay, you know what to do. There you go, baby. No te enojes, no te enojes.
You gotta fight.
Con calma y con gusto.
Throw.
Both corners recognizing what a close fight this is. 6 minutes left will decide this. Norman Stone was almost pleading with John Ruiz in the corner of that last round, saying, don't let him take it away from you. Right to the top of the head from Ruiz, takes a jab from Oquendo. Heavyweight champion of Puerto Rico about to be crowned here tonight. Although a draw is certainly not out of the question.
Not at all. Wash your mouth out with soap. You're right. Oh my goodness. Just like the other one of these guys. Now, if I was training either one of these fighters, the only thing I would say to them in the corner right now is, do you want to be the champion or not? Because you don't look like you want to be the champion. So if you don't, let's go home right now.
This is the 11th round inside of 2 minutes.
Now we're back to Ron Holden.
Again here in round 11, and you would think there'd be a little bit of desperation at least in both these guys. Well, I don't think either guy should feel comfortable in his position right now.
Exactly. You better stop fighting.
Ruiz was trying to hit a home run with that right hand. Oquendo just got underneath it. Ruiz stepped back, took a big, deep breath.
Work out, come on, punch.
Ruiz has seen he can hurt Oquendo, so he's trying to land a big shot. Oquendo more concerned about
there it is.
There it is. Oquendo in real trouble.
And another left hand and a right hand behind it, and a left hand and Oquendo. That's it. They stop it. It's over.
I think that's a premature stoppage. So Fres Oquendo was hurt, yes, but he did not go down. He was in real trouble, but I think he should have been given the opportunity to fight a few more seconds. I'm surprised that Wayne Kelly stopped the fight at that point.
You were getting tired. Yeah, where you get tired? Take him out, man. Yeah, this is really good. Hey, check him out, doctor. He took really good points.
I mean, Oquendo was in real trouble there, but nonetheless, I think that's a premature stoppage, in my opinion.
Not to be flippant, but I think Wayne Kelly was so stunned that there was suddenly some violence going on that he just said, this must stop. And he stopped. I hate to say, I'm not trying to be a wise guy, but that's what it looked like. I need the judge.
No, I agree. I think the fight was stopped too soon.
Oquendo was hurt, though. There's no question. I mean, he was rocking back and forth.
And probably would have gone.
He took too much. I didn't want to let it go.
Here's another look.
He was taking too many
at the end of this fight.
I don't care whether he's winning or not. He was taking too many punches.
Started with a right hand. There was the right, a left behind it, another right, a left hand behind it. He was wobbly when he came off the ropes.
I think one of the problems there for Kelly was because of his position, he's a little bit behind it, and Oquendo's wobbling so much that, you know, he's completely defenseless. His hands are down.
Yeah, you know what? I look at this again.
And he turns his back, and he's getting shots in the head that you don't want a man to get hit by.
Yeah, when I look at it again, his hands were down, and he was not defending himself.
And if you look there at the end, Oquendo was not protesting. He protested about a minute and a half after. That's a man in a lot of trouble. Serious trouble. And those are big, big men.
All right, here's Michael Buffer. We'll make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Wayne Kelly calls a halt to the bout. The official time, 2 minutes, 33 seconds of round number 11. The winner by knockout victory and still WBA heavyweight world champion, John the Quiet Man Ruiz.
Well, the quiet man made a little bit of noise at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the 11th round and got Fres Oquendo out of there. Wasn't much to talk about for a long way. But when he needed to get it done, again, he reached down and found that little something and made that big right hand count.
Well, you know, Barry, we talked about how Ruiz had hurt Holyfield and these other fellows like Rockman and so forth, and you saw it again there. You're going on, and it looks like nothing, and all of a sudden somebody's in big trouble.
All right, right now let's go to the center of the ring. Rich Barada is with John Ruiz. Rich.
All right, I'm with the winner and still the WBA heavyweight champion of the world, John Ruiz. John, that was not easy, but you had the resourcefulness to pull it out in that last round. Tell us about it.
Oh, the whole thing, you know what I mean? He was difficult to fight, first of all, you know what I mean? He was moving on a lot, you know what I mean? I was trying to chase him down. You know, he does have a good job, but a good jab. But you know, I also want to say hello to my kids, Don and Johnson. I love you very much. And you know, that's what happened. I mean, as soon as I started slowing him down, I knew I was going to get him a combination.
It looked as though his jab was bothering you earlier in the fight when he was doubling and tripling up on it. And it looked as though Norman Stone gave you a real earful before that last round to go out there and get him.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's my motivator. And the thing is, you know what I mean, his jab, you know, I was taking it, you know what I mean, I was taking it. I know sooner or later he's going to give up and I'm going to grab him.
All right, we're going to take a look. Do we have the monitor? Hey, John, let's take a look at the monitor here and go ahead and describe what went on at the end of the fight.
You know, I threw a jab and I threw my right hand. I knew I had him rocked. Then I started throwing with a hook and I just kept going. You know, he was out on his feet right now. You know what I mean? You know, but the whole thing, I mean, the referee jumped in.
You know, I thought you had hurt him a couple of rounds earlier with a single shot at the beginning of the round, but couldn't quite get over the finisher.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, he's a tough guy. I give him that. You know, he deserves all the credit he gave. I mean, he's a great fighter. You know, and, you know, I just I love how I came through. And now, you know, I want the next. I want to unify the titles. I want to fight everybody.
Well, Don Key's a man who can unify the titles for you because he's got a real tournament going on right now. Let's bring in Fres Oquendo. Fres, wow, the fight that came to an end there, and I know you don't agree with the stoppage of the fight, but tell us about it.
Well, the fight I was spectacularly dominant. You know, Ruiz, you know, couldn't, you know, hang with me. I was too fast, too strong. You know, this is bad at boxing. You know, they stop a great fight, you know, in the last round. I mean, that's unheard of, man. I mean, I'm standing fine. I mean, they could have, you know, I mean, gave me 8 count, whatever. But still, I was fine. I mean, I just don't understand why they stopped the fight, and I wasn't even hurt.
What did the referee say to you? Did you ask him why you're stopping it?
Yeah, I said, I mean, why are you stopping it? I'm fine. And he just, you know, waved it off. I'm like, why are you stopping? I mean, this is unfair. You know, I'm an up-and-coming young prospect. You know, Ruiz had his chance. That's my moment. I deserve it. The future of heavyweight deserved it. And I like a rematch.
As we're taking a look at the final seconds of the round, you can take a look at how it looked and how you looked there at the end of it. You knew what was going on.
Yeah, of course. I was fine. I mean, you can tell me, I was talking to the referee was angry. I was talking to him. I mean, I'm a gladiator. I mean, you gotta knock me down on the floor, man. I mean, that happened with the tour fight. I mean, damn, I've never been knocked down. I'm a gladiator.
All right, Fres, well, you gave it a great effort. You fought a great fight here tonight, but perhaps there'll be another opportunity for you in the future. We're going to check with the referee, Wayne Kelly. Wayne, what were your thoughts there at the end of the fight and why you stopped it?
My thoughts is that Oquendo was taking too many punches. He wasn't defending himself. Yeah, he was in decent shape after the fight. However, if I didn't stop it, he would have taken about 3-4 more shots and he could have been in deep trouble, and I didn't want that to happen.
All right, Wayne. Okay, well, there's the explanation from the referee, Wayne Kelly. You heard it, Barry, Ron Borges, and I'll tell you, it was an interesting, some would say premature stoppage, but Wayne Kelly defends it. Let's go back to ringside.
Yeah, and when you look at the replay, Ron, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think you could make a pretty good case for Wayne Kelly stopping it when he did.
Well, I think he can. Because what Kelly says here, and he's absolutely right, he's not defending himself at all. If you watch, now he gets hit there, now his hands are down by his pockets, and they stay down by his pockets. He's throwing no punches, he's not avoiding any punches, and these are very big guys. And better you come back to fight another day than, as Wayne Kelly said, is 2 or 3 punches too many. You certainly understand if you're Oquendo why you say, wait a minute, no, you know, really, I was all right. But when you say you're all right, put your hands up at least.
Well, that's right, and you don't take a minute or a minute and a half to say I'm all right. So John Ruiz retains his version of the WBA championship, the heavyweight championship of the world so far as the WBA is concerned, and he reaches down and he finds something else yet another time. And we've still got one more title fight coming your way, this one for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. Chris Bird, who is the title holder, and Andrew Golota, who has been right on the cusp, only to defeat himself. He'll try not to do that tonight. He feels he's on a mission to make some amends, and that's what Andrew Golota has to do today. Had some embarrassing moments, as Wally Matthews indicated earlier, against Riddick Bowe in this very building. Tonight, he feels is his opportunity for redemption.
The Chris Bird Andrew Golota fight is a fascinating fight. On the one hand, you have the best pure boxer in the heavyweight division in Chris Bird, and you have the aptly named foul pole in Andrew Golota.
Andrew Golota is the White Tyson. And so what you have is a guy who does everything, fights good, knocks out guys, but then he always disqualifies himself by hitting them low or hitting them in some kind of foul.
They said I'm a dirty fighter, you know, but I take a shower like 2-3 times a day, you know, so not as much dirty as they say so. I'm back in New York. It brings some good and bad memory, you know, but it's gonna be exciting.
The question is, what does Andrew Golota have left?
He's a credible opponent, world champion, you know, so there's no question about it. And I'm here to take away from him.
The man is a tremendous puncher. Right hand by Golota. And if he hurts you, he can finish it.
Chris Bird pecking. Chris Bird, that's champion, that's a great, great fighter.
A lot of writers say, I'm too small. I can beat, you know, all the smaller guys and beat them handily, but once you get in there with a big guy, he have trouble. And that's all I want to fight. I want to fight all the big guys in the division, and Andrew Golota is one of them.
Chris Bird's a very slick fighter. He doesn't have a big punch, so he has to do a lot of different things to win the fight.
I got to be on point the whole fight. I got to be focused and concentrate on the Andrew Golota, because one punch from one of the big guys like that, it's over.
Can Bird frustrate Golota to the point where, frankly, he loses his mind, as he did against Mike Tyson, he did twice against Riddick Bowe? That's the key.